Hey, this is Jeff Heiser. I'm so glad you can join me. You may have noticed a difference. And, we used to be Success and Intentional Lifestyle, and we're changing it up. We're changing it up to I Think Differently. Now, I'll talk to you a little bit about I Think Differently here in just a few minutes, but I wanted to bring you up to date on some things. For those that don't know, the Talk Network Radio, or TNR, was sold in November, and it moved from Florida to Virginia, and it was bought by an organization headed up by a man named Chuck Christie. Chuck Christie's a great guy. They're doing great things with Talk Network Radio, and if you haven't been listening, I suggest you go out there and listen to some of the stuff that they've got. They've got some really good shows, and they've got some shows that are continuing to play, some new shows. They're talking about bringing in some top music, the top pop music and all, and go out there and give him a like. He needs some listeners. He needs some feedback, and go out to their website. The website hasn't changed. It's www.talknetworkradio.com. That's www.talknetworkradio.com. Just leave them a comment or whatever you can do to let them know that you're listening. That would be great. Now for what's happening here. So I used to head up the podcast Success and Intentional Lifestyle, and that hasn't gone away. It's just been put on the back burner, and the reason is I think differently, and let me tell you about that. One night, my wife and I, we were having a discussion about some topics, and she said, I think differently. And, that's something that she says all the time. And I didn't pay much attention to it. And then as the conversation went along, I said, I think differently to something that she had said. And she said, you should have a show called I Think Differently, because, Jeff, you really do think differently about a lot of things. And so I figured, well, okay, let's see where that takes me. Well, let me tell you, it has taken us pretty far. We have started the I Think Differently organization. And if you go out to www.jeffreyheiser.com, you'll see the new website. That's www.jeffreyheiser.com, and you'll see the new website out there. And we're asking you to let us know how you thought differently during the day or during the week, or just drop us a comment. If you sign in and become a I Think Differently member, you'll get access to our free, not free, but our e-courses that are out there. And you'll become a part of the I guess we can call it the tribe, or the group, or whatever we want to call it. But there is a very strong movement starting with I Think Differently, because so many people think differently, and we just we don't even think about it. But I was at a leads meeting a couple of weeks ago, and somebody says after some individual had made some comments, and they said, I think differently, and then looked right at me and they said, boy, that felt good. And it does. It really does. It's almost freeing when you can say, I think differently, because it almost like empowers you to take that step outside of your mind and think a little bit differently about things. And for example, Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And when you think about that, if you just think to the side that you can, you're right, and you're going to achieve it. But if you think the other side that you can't, you're not going to achieve it. So we have changed some things up. I know I've been gone for a while, and there's been people that have been clamoring about, where are you? Why aren't you on there? I've been listening, and I haven't heard you, and all this, and that's okay. I'm back, and I want you to go out to the jeffreyheiser.com website, check out the blogs, check out the courses, the e-courses that you can get. We're adding new e-courses almost monthly now. And once you sign up, and I'm telling you, it free, right? For now, it's free. You get these e-courses, and some of these e-courses are like $300 or $400, and you're getting them for free. So I would take some time and go out there and check it out. Now, today, what I'd like to talk to you about is worry and worrying about things. And I want to start by saying that I have 5 things that I've learned over the years that have totally helped me transform my process and thoughts on worrying. You know, in Eastern traditions, the mind is said to be the cause of our bondage, and on the other end, it's the cause of our freedom. And it's like I said just a few minutes ago, Henry Ford put it like this: whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And to me, that's either you have put yourself in bondage, or you are freeing yourself. And whether you think you are in bondage or you think you're not. And that's what it comes down to. It's the mind. It's the mind that controls that. It's in the mind that the entire world of spirituality plays out. Some say the mind is where everything plays out. I mean, everything. Some people believe that, you know, it's everything you experience in life is based on what your perspective is in your mind. Everything in your world is perceived through your mind, which presents the world as you envision it to be. So if you think it's a bad world, it's going to be a bad world. If you think it's a good world, it's going to be a good world. It's the way you envision it and perceive it to be. But many aspects of the mind are not considered a necessary part of its functions as the mind. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about worrying. See, worrying to me is something that is taught. And it's taught and it's learned at what I consider to be one of the lowest things we can do. Worrying has changed many, many lives. Worrying has changed lives in my own family, in my friends, in people I know. It has prevented great success in some people that I know. And it's robbed them of their joy. It's robbed many people of their joy because all they do is spend their time, worrying about things. To stop worrying is tough. It really is. But it's not impossible. As I have made my life and as I've made my way through my life, I've learned to stop worrying about most things and just let the world unfold in front of me. Since I was early retired, my life changed in a way that I used to worry about everything up to that point, pretty much. I mean, worrying about this client, that client, where am I going to be next week? What flights am I going to be on? What do I have to deal with? Since then, I've basically turned off worry, and I just let things happen. And it's been amazing. It's been very surprising, very enlightening of the things that you can accomplish and the things that can happen to you in your life. I've just stopped worrying about most things and just let the world unfold in front of me. Yes, I still have moments of worry, and still, I still have to deal with it. and I still have to deal with the voices and the demons that I have in my head. But you know, the more I let go, the more I don't worry, the more I can silence those voices and demons in my head, and the better life gets. I've found that by adopting a few lessons on worrying from Buddhists, that these are lessons that you can go read about. I've been doing a lot of different reading, a lot of different research on different things and about the mind. I've done it for many years now. But I found these 5 things from Buddhist lessons that are just amazing. They will bring about astounding change in your life if you can master these. Now, here's how you do it. Number 1, you have to understand your mind and where it's taking you and what it's doing to you. You know, in India, a common analogy used for the human mind is a monkey. And the reason they do that, and they say that and use that analogy, is because monkeys love jumping from one tree to another, just like our minds jump from one thought to another. This also reminds me of the movie called Up. If you've ever seen the movie Up, in the movie there's a dog, and the dog is, it's going about its daily business, and it's sniffing around, and it's like behind this hedge, and the squirrel goes by. And the dog sees the squirrel, and the dog's head comes up over the hedge, and the dog yells out really loud, "Squirrel!" And the dog forgets about everything else that was going on, everything that he was doing, and begins chasing the squirrel. People do the same thing. My wife does. I say to her, "Don't go squirrel on me," because, some people like shiny, bright objects. And it sounds funny, but it's true. People get distracted very quickly. You've seen it at work. You've seen it in school, at home. I'm sure they're working hard on something, and snap, their thoughts change. They drop the work they're doing, and they are off chasing the new thought or the new thing or the new whatever. When something attention-grabbing comes up, the mind will naturally want to think about it. We'll want to go after it. We'll want to investigate it. We'll want to find out about it. The only problem with that is that if you let that happen, you'll easily slide right into worrying, which requires a great deal of awareness to be able to stop and prevent from happening. The second thing, and this is a big one. This is a big one for me. It's a hard thing to do, and it's the biggest reward. It's walk away. See, the more you worry, the more you tend to become agitated. I know that for a fact. The more I stay in an environment that makes me worry, the more agitated and more anxious I get. We get wrapped up in something that may not even exist except for in our own minds. The important thing is to take a step back. Get out of that energetic space by letting go of that thought pattern or the thoughts that you have about whatever it is in that space that you're in. Walk away. Take a walk. Walk away for a bit. Get on a treadmill. Go to the gym. See, many things used to trigger my fight or flight response. Many things. When something would trigger my response, most times I was ready to just stand and fight. I was ready to go down. A person acting a certain way, a person wearing certain types of clothing or saying certain types of things could trigger my response just like that. Back when I got help one of the first things that I was taught was to walk away.